Good evening, folks. How are you doing? I am Scott. Bo is somewhere. He's over there taking a break. It is the 23rd day of September 2024. It's about 7 p.m. in the evening on a Monday. I was going to wait till tomorrow, but I got other things I want to do on tomorrow in terms of the videos, so I thought I would put this together for you. Dogs of War. I wrote something really briefly from my website and my Substack page, so I thought I would share that with you. Listen, folks, we are steadily moving forward towards a large conflict, and I'm not talking about destabilizing Syria or Libya or even Afghanistan or an all-out invasion of Iraq. I'm talking about a large global fucking conflict. And there are voices out there trying to be heard who are calling for taking a few steps back from the doomsday clock, moving the hands back a bit. But they are being shouted down, they are being rounded up, they are being threatened, they are being arrested. Except the ones who are extremely powerful, and I've got a video of one of those I'm going to share with you. There's a couple videos I'm going to share with you. We are now seeing a resurgence of a new McCarthyism. I saw it once before at this fevered pitch, and that was in the lead up to the invasion, the illegal invasion and occupation of Iraq. When if you had anything to say about maybe not blowing up innocent men, women, and children in pursuit of control of the great island, the world island, then you were considered in collaboration with the terrorists. You were considered one of the Islamo-fascists or one of their useful idiots. This is the same shit we're seeing now. I'm going to show you a video of that in a second. Some new McCarthy trials taking place in McCarthy hearings taking place in Congress. Someone brought that to my attention, so I thought I would share it with you. I want to read a little bit of this for you, and then we'll look at those videos. Hopefully we'll get this in under 20 minutes so I can post it on BitChute. Dogs of war don't capitulate, they don't negotiate, they don't reevaluate, they simply move forward relentlessly. Across the neoliberal West, they are cracking down on all sorts of dissent, be it medical, ideological, or theological. They're not allowed to question the established narrative no matter what they dictate that narrative to be, no matter how absurd or insultingly stupid or obviously hypocritical. And somebody will touch on that in a few moments. Germany, England, Palestine, the United States, journalists who don't toe the line are being silenced one by one. The narrative will be that World War III began due to Islamic aggression leveled at poor little peaceful Israel. And nothing could be further from the truth. So in Israel, in the West Bank, in Gaza, in Germany, in England, and here in the States, the new McCarthyites are steadily running their modern-day version of the Red Scare all over again, only this time it's not the commies they're after, but it's quite literally the better angels of our nature. In Israel, the goal is land confiscation, Zionism, greed, and lust for power. In the United States and across the westernized neoliberal world, it's simply war for war's sake as a diversion from the great conflict. The Eastern philosophy versus Western. Multilateralism versus unilateralism. Free market neoliberal versus regulated market economies. And there are those on high who understand that we, this side, the neoliberals, are coming to a point where we will lose. The Pentagon's strangeloves are licking their chops, as are the bankers who will profit off the carnage to come. To us, it matters not why it starts, just that it starts and escalates to a glorious profit-generating windfall. that there are still voices of reason out there calling for an end to this designed escalation. Maybe the world will listen, turn back the hands of the doomsday clock. Maybe it won't. One antagonistic attack after another, eventually something will spark it off. Here are some videos showing what I'm talking about. The first is Josh Harley interrogating some woman who dares stand for the ceasefire and the respect of human rights of the Palestinians being killed by the IDF. It is straight out of the McCarthy trials, or straight from some Nazi SS interrogation of a suspected Jewish sympathizer. Take your pick. But it fits either way. The second clip is from Germany, where German police treat Palestinian solidarity activists like terrorists or killers, violently attacking them repeatedly for simply standing with the side that we are told don't deserve human rights. And lastly, there's maybe a glimmer of hope. One of those voices I mentioned before, a voice of reason demanding we treat all human life with respect, not just those we deem profitable. Someone sent me a link to this, Josh Harley, whatever his fucking name is. I'm going to play a little bit of it with you. It's 9 minutes, 7 minutes. I intended if I can just do a react video of this, but it's so infuriating when I watch it. It gets me so mad. His bullshit, his McCarthyite bullshit gets me so fucking mad. I can't watch more than a minute of it, but we'll watch what I can.
Senator Welch, you may conclude. Thank you very much. Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Berry, let me just start with you. You said in response to a question from, I think it was Senator Graham, you praised the protests going on campuses. I just want to make sure I got this right, so you correct me now, as a national organic human rights movement. What did you mean by that?
The mass movement in support of Palestinian human rights is happening on college campuses across the country after students are learning more about the history of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and the specific targeting of Palestinian human rights. Yes.
Oh, okay. I just want to be clear about what you're praising and not praising.
Well, praising.
Let's have a look here. So,
yeah.
This long live the Intifada.
Yeah.
Is this an example of the what did you say, national organic human rights movement that you mean? Is this a human rights movement?
Now,
that using the term Intifada, which literally just means
organic human rights movement that you mean? Is this a?
Now, here's the deal. I want you to listen to me very carefully. They weren't able to, I guess, for shame's sake, pull up some of the obvious plants who show up at some of these things with signs that say kill all the Jews and turn on the ovens or whatever. So they couldn't do that. So they picked the ones that people who watch this wouldn't understand what the terminology means. Intifada simply means resistance. Long live the resistance. There were 2 series of intifadas. The first intifada, which was a time period, a conflict of resistance that utilized terrorist tactics, guerrilla warfare tactics by the Palestinians against their occupiers. Then the second intifada. You could, I guess, claim the second intifada is still ongoing because of what happened on October the 7th. But I think that would be a stretch. Intifada, as it is used in this context, means resistance. That's what it means. There are several cases in this photo display where he's trying to make his case, where his case is based on ignorance. Ignorance of the other. One, I'm not going to show you the whole video. You can go to my website and watch the video. This guy makes me so fucking sick, and his little Bevan, his little gaggle of fucking McCarthyites sitting there behind him and Ted Cruz. Look up and see how much Josh Hawley got from United for Democracy or whatever that fucking thing was, and of course the AIPAC. See how much money he got paid by a foreign country to do this, to attack this woman who simply is trying to represent people, young people, who care about 15,000 children who have been killed already by the fucking IDF. Never once does he mention that. What he says is, what they all say is, that Jewish students on these campuses are being made to feel uncomfortable because they see things going on campus that makes them think about what the Jewish state is doing to Palestinians in Gaza. Ergo, they feel uncomfortable. They don't say a goddamn word about 15,000 dead fucking children in Gaza. Not one fucking word from any of those goddamn fascists. Not one. And ironically, the whole thing, the whole gist of this attack on people who are simply voicing reasonable concerns with their government using taxpayer money to give to a genocidal regime in Israel to bomb women and children and civilians and the elderly and destroy schools and hospitals. These are reasonable demands. And of course, we have a right to redress our fucking government when they do things that we don't like. That is part of our constitutional right. I understand there is no constitutional rights in the state of Israel. But we still have them here. However, we might not have them for very long if the McCarthyites get what they want. He holds up one picture of one banner made by one person. At one point in time, the end of last semester, still this year, there were over 500,000 students involved all across the country, demonstrating their desire to see a ceasefire. There are 2 million doing the same thing in fucking Israel. And yet this jackass, all of these jackass fascist pieces of shit, McCarthyite pieces of shit, neoliberal fascist McCarthyite pieces of shit, hold up a picture of one person's banner. And they are depending on the ignorance of their fan bases. Forbes proudly says this is all about grilling this woman because she stands with the people who want to kill all the Jews. Is this race baiting? Could very well be. Someone in a minute is going to ask if this is all based on racism. I think partly it is. We think we have to come to the fucking rescue of the Ukrainians, who are as white can be, and we forget 15,000 dead fucking Palestinians. You tell me what the difference is. Here in Germany, not obviously Germany. One more thing. He's gonna show another photograph where they projected something on the wall, and the projection on the wall reads something about the martyrs. Long live the martyrs. There it is. Something like that. Remember the martyrs. Long live the martyrs. He's like, oh my God. And now he's getting fired up. Look at these fascist fucking pieces of shit. Look at him. Look at him. He's all fired up. Oh my God, the martyrs. Again, this is race baiting based on the ignorance of their fan bases. The martyrs don't refer to people with suicide vests, you goddamn morons. The martyrs refer to people who have been killed by the IDF during the occupation. They have been martyred for the cause. Do you understand? Children. 15,000 children. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. I don't give a shit. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Fucking Amber Alert. 15,000 of them. So again, he's utilizing the ignorance of his fan base. He's utilizing the ignorance and the fear that they have of, let's just put it bluntly, the brown people. The brown people whose God is slightly different than theirs. This is McCarthyism. It's McCarthyism. In support of a genocidal regime who want nothing more than to steal someone else's land. This, Germans. Imagine that. Germans acting like Nazis the first fucking chance they get. Go figure. I was shocked myself. Apparently what they have in this paddy wagon is a 10-year-old child who was at one of these demonstrations. And he happened to be carrying a Palestinian flag. No, you're not going to have that. Not in Germany. So they went through the crowd like gangbusters, shoving them out of the way, pushing down the parents or whatever, and snatching up the child so they could make a point. Don't bring your children to this. Don't teach your children about human rights violations. And the child was dragged off and tossed into that thing, and apparently other activists were saying, what are you fucking doing as a kid? Here we have Thugland. Thugland. The steroid boys. The dumb rat fucks from high school who were too stupid to go to college, and they couldn't fucking play football well enough to go to college. So what did they do with their lives? Thugs. Thugs. Treating peace activists like this. This is what happens when civilization deteriorates. People are expected. You're cop or you're fucking little people. Get out there and push these motherfuckers around. They get mad. They get angry at the orders, so they take them out on the people. This is your fucking pension. This is your health care. This is your paycheck. What are you going to do? Get out there and do what you're supposed to do. So they do. That's as simple as it is. And those who really hate what they're doing take out that anger and aggression on the easiest targets they can. Peace activists, in this case. They're not out there fighting the war on terror. These aren't fucking terrorists. No, they're not expecting anybody to have a fucking suicide vest. No. And this is mild from what I understand. The video of them attacking that kid and grabbing that kid is much, much worse. I told you that there's a voice of reason in all of this. Here she is.
Today, we come together in a moment of profound uncertainty. It seems like everywhere we turn, we're met with something worse. Conflicts raging. The people of the world deserve a global system they can trust, free of prejudice, moral loopholes, and deadly blind spots. And trust in that system has become intrinsically tied to the fate of the Palestinian people. From the United Nations to the International Court of Justice, to the UN Declaration of Human Rights, the world came together to establish norms for a future better than its past. A future based on the values of the UN Charter: peace, justice, and human rights. Looking at Israel's war in Gaza, they see a glaring double standard, or worse yet, a seeming abdication of any standards at all. What is the global South supposed to think when they see the West stand up for the people of Ukraine while leaving innocent civilians in Gaza to unprecedented collective punishment? More than hypocritical, the double standard is dehumanizing. It is cruel. And if it isn't racist, I don't know what is. That's why rejecting double standards, demanding accountability, and finding a common path to peace are necessary to create the future Palestinians, Israelis, and all of us deserve.
This is somebody. This is a viewpoint. This is somebody. Of course, he wouldn't treat her like this. Josh Hawley wouldn't treat her like that. Because she's a fucking queen. And she wouldn't stand for it either. At one point, this guy is asking this woman, Josh Hawley is asking this woman, to renounce something. Or, do you condemn this? Do you renounce this? They always do this. Fascists always do this. People who want, goddamn camera, people who want to get a little something. You got to give me a little something here. You got to denounce this or denounce that, or and she refused to do so, and good for her. Not entirely sure. It is, the appearance is certainly, on the surface, it certainly looks, the double standard looks based on race. Looks like it's based on race. And God knows we've done enough to the global South. God knows we've done enough to the Middle East. God knows Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation and Gavi. Where do they go in the past when they wanted to test their fucking new medicines? Well, they went to Africa or they went to Brazil. Am I going to tell you that race is not involved in that? Of course it is. Is that what's behind this? The difference between Ukraine and Gaza? No. It's the appearance of racism. Is it? No. Destabilize. We thought we could destabilize Russia, but the reality was they wanted to destabilize the United States. They wanted to destabilize the global West to bring about a great reset. That's what happened with Russia. We antagonized, we had Ukraine antagonize and bomb the shit out of Donbass until eventually Russia had to step in. And that was it. It had nothing to do with race. And of course we continue it because it is profitable. Because we still have, it's the conflict between the Eastern and Western philosophies. It's conflict between unilateralism and multilateralism. It's the conflict between neoliberal economic ideology and regulated market economies. That's the conflict. Which, by the way, if you've been watching what I've been posting on my website, is coming to a head. It's coming to a head. Nation states are dropping the dollar, and they can't keep QE infinity going for infinity. There's going to be a market correction, a massive market correction, and it's going to be devastating. And at that moment, I believe other nation states are going to drop the dollar and make it worse. And we understand that. We are the bully on the block who has gotten old and weak. And those that we bullied are gathering together and they're watching our weakness and they're waiting. And our glorious leaders, our masters of the universe, they understand this to be true. Like I said, Israel has their justifications for escalating this conflict because they know that's the only end to which they're going to be able to take all of Palestine. If there is an all-out conflict and we bring in they bring in the United States and Great Britain and whoever else stands with us to oppose the dark hordes of Saudi Arabia, of Iran, of Iraq, India perhaps, Pakistan perhaps, Jordan perhaps, and of course Lebanon, Gaza, maybe even Russia and China if it gets big enough. Then eventually, maybe on the other end of it, they'll get what they want. They'll be able to wipe Palestine off the map once and for all, if it goes that far. Because now, the only option available to them, because Hamas and the Palestinian Authority will not submit, a peace deal means they recognize Palestine, and it's the end of the Zionist dream. And they cannot see themselves doing that under any circumstances. They have their motivation. We have ours. Of course, the Pentagon, the strange loves, it's just money. It's just money and pumping more and more money into the military-industrial complex. The banking industries, they're going to make tons of money, loaning the government the government's own money at interest to pay for this conflict, which is what they're doing now. That's why, one of the reasons why we keep fucking throwing more weapons into fucking the hands of Benjamin Netanyahu to kill fucking 15,000 children in Gaza with. Because it's a profit. There's profit to be made. Not just in the manufacturing and the sales of the fucking arms and the transport of the fucking arms, but also in the financing of them. The West understands. The neoliberal West understands. They're not going to be able to reset the global economy, the world, without a conflict. Because Russia, China, BRICS nations, and dozens and dozens of others, the vast majority of the countries that make up the vast majority of the population of the world, they're not going to have it. They're not going to have it. And resetting, the Great Reset is meaningless. It's only a few nations here and there. It's meaningless. There's going to be a conflict unless calmer heads prevail, like the one you just saw. Unless wiser people start leading our fucking nation. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I don't know how this ends. I certainly hope it doesn't end in a global war. I certainly hope it doesn't end in World War III. But at this point, this is, by the way, in case you don't recognize the image, that's Afghanistan. So, there you have it. I want to thank the person who sent me the link to the Josh Harley video. It's infuriating. And that was just his interrogation, McCarthyite interrogation of her, was just one of many. Ted Cruz had another one, had a couple of other moments in there that was just deplorable human beings, spouting lies and not giving a shit, not giving one rat's ass. They care so much about Jewish students not feeling upset at college because they keep being reminded of what the Jewish state is doing, and so we've got to do something because these are terrorists making them feel that way. The Jewish state killing 15,000 children, bombing them, starving them now, simply because they want to steal the land of their fathers and their mothers. That doesn't factor in at all. That is embarrassing. As an American, that's embarrassing. That's allowed to take place in the United States. I thank you for your time.